we pray for all the youth, activity or the meeting this coming Friday night. We pray that that will go well and that we have a good turnout, but also just a good spirit there. Continue to bless the workers and use them, Lord, as they share. We go to Steve and he preaches. And Lord, we pray that you'll be with those who are gone. All these kids at camp, the our lines are gone, Caleb is gone, and many at Teen Extreme and Camp of the Pines. And we know that the Word of God can be a powerful thing, especially at a camp meeting when there's no TV, there's no radio, or phone, or personal electronic devices, and the heart is open and sensitive. We pray that you would just speak to the hearts of all these kids and pray for good decisions there. We pray for Flo Caldwell, and we know that she's definitely in the sunset years of her life, and now we've just been told that she has terminal cancer. And so, Lord, we pray for grace for her, that you would just give her special grace at this time, as it looks like you are taking her home. We pray that for those that are left behind, we pray for the Caldwells and the Peases and all of those, Lord, for John, her husband. You would just to give them special grace and settled peace at this time. That you would just let them know that you love them and you will give them strength to go through whatever comes their way. And so we pray for special help in all of that there. Lord, pray for traveling for Georgiana and Lisa and the kids, and give them safety as they travel. Also for the R lines as they come back this coming weekend, safety. And just pray for your watch care over all those who are on the many miles as they travel. And Lord, we also pray that you just continue to bless our church. We have this activity this weekend, the good weather, so we pray that we've worked that out according to your will and way. We have a good time for fellowship. And then, Lord, we also pray for our church service, our last Sunday of the month of June, challenging our men. Pray for your special grace there. Lord, we love you so much. I pray that you bless our time together in this finance meeting. Go well and encouraging. And Lord, we know that you are going to continue to do your work in this church, and we're excited about that. And so we just pray for your help, your blessing, and dedicate time to you in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. Let me just read something to you real quick, and then I'm going to go over the back of the sheet. This is out of the book of 1 Corinthians. I was meditating on this a little bit today, and a lot going on, a lot of sermons to prepare for, you know, with series and everything going on, and getting ready for July sermons and everything else. There's a lot happening right now to keep my mind in where it needs to be. But I came across 1 Corinthians chapter 9, and this is Paul speaking just about his life before the church and preaching the word and so forth. And I wanted to read this to you because this is exactly the way that I feel as far as your pastor is concerned. And chapter 9, verse 13, do you not know that they which minister about holy things live of the things of the temple? They which wait at the altar are partakers with the altar, is using an Old Testament example. Verse 14, even so hath the Lord ordained they which preach the gospel should live the gospel. And that has been such a blessing. It really is hard for me to explain how wonderful it is to be able to be a preacher, to be able to share, and just live for the Lord and be a pastor. It's just a wonderful thing to do that and watch God work like that. It's just awesome. And I just want to thank the Lord for that opportunity. Thank you as a church for an opportunity for me to pastor you over the years. And then he says this, but I have used none of these things. Paul said, you know, I haven't used the church at all as far as a monetary thing. Neither have I written these things that it should be so undone unto me. I'm not bringing this up like because I want an offering, basically. For it were better for me to die that any man should make my glory void. He says, listen, this is not about money. It's not about finances, nothing like this. And I don't even want any, is what he's saying. But he says that it should be there, but he says, as far as I'm concerned, it's not what it's all about. I simply want to make my boasting in the Lord Jesus and live as he supplies. And that's what he says. And that really is my heart as well. Verse 16, for though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel. I mean, that's it. Right? For I do this thing willingly, I have a reward, but if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me. What is my reward then? Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Christ without charge, that I use not my power in the gospel. For though I be free from all men, yet have I made myself servant unto all, that I may gain the more. And unto the Jews I became as a Jew, that I may gain the Jews. To them that are under law as under law, that I might gain them that are under law. He just goes on and on and on about simply trying to be a good preacher. And I wanted to just to turn this over to Joe in just a second, but before I did, I wanted just to let you know that my heart for the Lord is, totally fixed. My decision to serve God many years ago was final, and it was conclusive that I serve God no matter what. Finances are not part of it. Finances come and go. We've seen that over the years. And so that's not an issue for me. And even right now, the things I'm going to talk about to you, you can see the things that are going on. It doesn't faze me in the least. I suppose that's kind of a weakness that I have, is I really don't care. I mean, I do care, but a lot of things as far as my life is concerned, God has allowed me as a man. I think men can do this. We can kind of put things in a box and put it over there and go to sleep. Or women sometimes, boy, they worry about it all night long. And man, men are. We can just file it away. I'll deal with that in the morning. Right? We can just do that. Well, now add to that the peace of the Lord, that he's going to take care of everything. And that's really the way I've lived my life. And so over time, when money's not there or things don't work out, I simply box that up and say, this is God's. I'll leave that there. And I'm going to just serve God. And so I can do that. And I think you can too. And I've been able to do that for quite some time. And so that's the way it's been. So as far as money, as far as finances are concerned, it's not an issue for me. And even for the church right now, whatever you do, if you are going to do anything or want to do anything to help me out, that's totally up to you. I really don't. It doesn't bother me if you don't. It doesn't bother me if you do. Okay? It's all of the Lord. It's simply to say, God is my supplier. God meets my needs. And no matter what you do as a church, it doesn't matter to me. I love you. You're my church. I'm your pastor, and I will pastor you until God says do something different, and until he comes again, right? So please understand my heart with that is the way I feel about it. That's the way my family feels about it. But these are some things that several people have asked me, and I said, well, you know what? No one knows what's going on, so let me just share with you so you can pray for me in a little bit more effective way, okay? So on the back of your bulletin, this is an update. Matter of fact, several have asked me, how's it going? And some have said, wow, the Lord's blessed the church, Pastor, how's it been going for you? And I haven't said much, and I said, well, let me go ahead and just bring this up. So I'll just read it. It's been an exciting year at the church. Last fall, I announced that I felt led of the Lord to stop working in lawn care and devote myself full-time to the ministry here at Cross and Crown. Let me stop right there. That was something God led me to do, not the church, right? The church didn't get together and say, Pastor, we want you to stop working lawn care, and we want to make sure, none of you said that, not one person. I mean, there was a lot of people that said, we'd like that, but it was nothing official. But I felt in my own heart it's something that God wanted me to do. So the reason why I'm in the situation I'm in right now is my fault, not your fault, my fault, okay? So starting January 1st, I retired from lawn care. I like that. I retired from lawn care. And it was a huge step of faith for me and Debbie. Our monthly finances, we cut about $1,500 a month. There were some months we made $2,000, $2,500 a month when Debbie and I both worked. And JB would attest to this. That's how we made it. That's how I bought that truck, made those payments, and missions, all the stuff that we ever did. We really made it, lived like we can as a 11-member family. Was we needed that kind of money. But I really felt like God was saying, you're getting out, your priorities are getting mixed up here, Joe. You need to focus on ministry, and I'll bless the church. And so that's what God told me to do, and that's what I felt like I should do. So I did that January 1st by faith. We cut our family budget as much as we could. Of course, when you're cutting from $1,500 to $2,000 basically out, you can't just budget that. You can't cut that budget enough. But we tried. So we were able to go all the way down as far as we could to about $4,031. You can see the bottom down there, $4,316. And even so, then we were $526 short. And that's if I just took the salary from the church, and that's where we were. Okay? Starting in January. This may be a little bit different than what I gave some of these other guys, because I went back through it and looked at the numbers again to make it more accurate. Because budgets change, power bills change, and you know how all that goes. And so I was trying to be as honest as I can for all that. So that's what we were short every month. Starting in January, we were short every month, $500. Okay. And so not only were we short budget-wise, but we were also $1,500 less than what we normally got. I don't know how to explain that, but so everything was gone, and now we're short too. So Lord, please help. And so I started fasting and praying, sometimes 2 or 3 times, during the week and so forth. And God started to bless. So that $2,000 shortfall was being met. God was doing wonderful things, miraculous things, but that $500 was still not there. And so I said, well, God will supply that too. And so as time went on, that $500 a month kept accruing, kept getting more difficult for me to come up with. And so I would pay the mortgage one month, but not my truck payment. And then one month I'd pay the truck payment and not the mortgage. So what happened was I got behind 1 month each time, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Anybody done that before? Yeah, I know you all do that. And I had to do that. And still am doing that. And then an unexpected thing came up where it hit me basically huge, and I had to hold off on another mortgage payment. And so here's where I am. God miraculously supplied our personal needs over and again on numerous occasions, although we were still over $500 short each month meeting the budget. Over the 6 months, that $500 has now accumulated to around $30,000. So I'm basically 2 months behind on my mortgage and 1 month behind on my truck. Okay, basically. At present, that's what it is. Yet we have seen God provide in the past. I know they'll do that again, so please pray with me for the Lord's supply and direction. Now, I only give all that to you because you asked. Okay? I normally don't even share that. From time to time, I'll ask Joe about different things. He may say, here's a love offering, whatever, and that's about it. Don't even bring up the deacons at all. Back in February, I gave them my budget, said, guys, pray for me. And that's the last time I talked to them about it. Okay? Because I just feel like this is something between me and the Lord. Like I said, it doesn't matter. Now, if we go out to this meeting and say, Pastor, there's nothing we can do. There's no money there. You know what? Hallelujah. Praise God. I'll take that as God's leading. No problem. I'm just going to continue on. Or it may be that, hey, there can be something done. Okay? Either way is fine with me. Okay? It's not going to hurt my feelings one way or the other. So you just need to know that. I love you guys. You're my church, and I know God will work one way or the other. But after 6 months, now the thing is, God's blessed. God's blessed the church. Not only numerically have we grown, we've seen souls saved, people baptized, people join the church. Been exciting. And I attribute that to God's blessings just because of the step of faith for our church. And so keep praying with me on that. I'd like to see this continue to go, but as the way things are right now, I can't continue to go the way that I am right now without going back to work. The reason why I'm telling you this is that may be what happens. Okay? So it's not because I don't want to continue the way things are going, but I might have to. Okay, just for testimony's sake, now for my mortgage company is weighing down my neck right now. You know how that goes. So even if I went back to work for a while to get caught up on all of these, like that free, if I get caught up on that, I think I'll be all right. Okay, so just pray with me about that. And I'm not sure about all the numbers and figures and all that kind of stuff. That's why I said Brother Joe can talk to you about that. And again, I would not even brought this up, except Joe did mention to me about several weeks ago. He said, Pastor, we got extra money to come in. Maybe we can help you out. So when he said that, I said, okay, well, maybe it's time to go ahead and share something. Okay? And so I want you guys to be able to communicate freely. And so, Joe, speak clearly into this because they want me to hear you at home if you don't. And then if you want to share anything or talk, you can do that. My family, we're going to exit stage that door, and we're going to head on out. Okay. And so let you guys talk whatever. This is not a business meeting. It's just a finance meeting, kind of bring things up to conversation. And then hopefully on Sunday, we can kind of, even if we are going to bring anything, great. If not, we'll just give you a financial report and close it off. Okay? Yeah.
There was one question that I had in talking to someone this week on the car, the loan still there. Could you reveal just how much longer you have?
In December, I have it. I should be paid off.
Okay, so those,
Yeah. It was a huge loan. It was a 6-year loan, $528 a month. It was killing me. But I worked for JB and $2,000 extra a month. That's why I bought it, was so I could pull the trailer.
just
And
to factor in some of the thoughts about how we might be moving forward from here and know how long it will be. So
yeah,
that helps.
yeah. Come December, January, I'm pretty sure I'm behind. So I'm saying, come December, right around that time, I should be done.
So it's about 7 payments, roughly 8.
6 or 7, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Pastor, can I ask one
Yes.
question? So, I don't see any personal care or clothing or things for special.
We have
occasions
none of that,
and
brother.
stuff
We
like
haven't
that.
had that in a long time.
Yeah, so really, just for those.
That is the bottom budget, just for us to survive.
Yeah, okay.
There's nothing for clothing, nothing for eating out,
Yeah.
nothing for nothing.
Yeah, okay, that's what I want.
So if we do that, we basically like you do, we don't do something else.
Right, okay,
Yeah, and the gas is also the very bare minimum, and that's getting back and forth and making visits, so.
okay,
I tried to give it the smallest I possibly could.
sure.
But we're fine with that, we're called in this world, I don't want to say about poverty, that's not it at all, but we are called not to live an luxurious life. And so my family knows that, we just do what we have to do, and that's it. Just with 11 people, my budget's big, and I feel big. I think, man, some of you guys are gonna have a budget half that big. Well, I've got 11 people. We got to shuffle around and feed and all that. And I thought about selling the house, but even to rent a house big enough for my family is $1,000 anyway, and that's what my mortgage payment is. I checked. And so the only other way would be gas back and forth maybe. Which truck's paid off, sell it, get something small, marry all the kids off. Working on that one. God bless you guys. Have fun. Nah, go ahead, brother. You just do your thing. All right, guys. And then just make sure lights are turned off and.
Pastor,
Take notes.
Pastor, yourself up.
Oh.
Just,
It's on secrecy. I'm listening to you.
two if we haven't done.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, I like it. That's fine. Somebody has to- Joe. I think we have now, because I had 20. Oh, taking notes, okay, great. Okay. All right, well, what I'm gonna do is just go over the budget numbers, and then, I'll throw out some of my thoughts and encourage the folks, want to come up here and have your thoughts, so folks can hear that. I guess that's the forum. I'm a little unsure how it was intended to be, but I think for those who cannot be here tonight, just the way they can hear the things, if there's fielded questions or something, I'll try to reiterate those for those online. And then those who want to speak, I think it'd be better if you came up here, kind of with that, if we get to those things. So this is the glorious spreadsheet. For those who can't see this online, it is an eye chart of sorts, but it is the most complete piece of information on one sheet that I can give tonight. And I've given some other things which kind of just highlight the basic bottom line things, but let's walk through just a couple things. The top line that's highlighted is tithes and offerings. That's pretty basic. That's what comes in for tithes and offerings. So you see January through June. Now June does not include the last week of the month, which is this coming Sunday. So it's going to have more than that, undoubtedly. Then you have underneath tithes and offerings the non-discretionary amounts. Those have been kind of talked through this before, so that shouldn't be new to us. But we have just a little list there of 7 or 8 things: mortgage, insurance, electric, water, telephone, internet, all this down the line. So that's our main budgetary items that aren't discretionary. We really do have to pay those out every month. We've got pastor's compensation below that. Okay, so we've broken out a few things just to make his salary a little bit broken into their cell phone and gasoline use, but essentially with the salary and all that total, that's $32.90. Now that's what we came to a decision as a church at the end of, well, during last year, when we were really only able to support about $32.90 as a salary. What we were hoping to do and what God blessed with was to give that additional $500 to make it $37.90. I don't have last year's report right in front of me, but I do recall that we were able to meet that. If we didn't meet it that month, we were able to catch back up. So $37.90 has been the consistent number. Now, that additional $500 is the extra other highlighted line below that, down towards the bottom, additional payments. You can see that in January, we were not able to make that, so it was 0. And then February is 500. Then we had March was a large month, so we were able to back up and make January's. And so it's a total of 1,000 for March. So it caught us back up. So for the year, up to this point, it's been $37.90. Right. Okay, then I kind of skipped over the discretionary things and love offering funds. You know, if anyone has any questions as to the details of what those particular ones are, I can give them. But you can see under church supplies, we're drawing that from the church fund, the tithes and offerings essentially because we do not have anything really in the way of love offerings for these things anymore. There is a little bit in a few areas, but you can look through those. I can highlight a few things, but they're just a few things that come up. We do an evangelism thing, balloons, that's there in April. Roof repairs, that's here recently in June for $138 in May, I'm sorry. That was the building maintenance. So for the most part, we've operated on low building maintenance costs at this point. And a couple of the big ones in that area, we did pay for the sound system, mics, and basically new receivers for those. So that's at $748 down in miscellaneous in June. There's been some love offerings given toward that, which brought it down. It was more than that, but we decided we really needed to have a better sound system for the mic and things there. So we went and purchased that. That's that large one in June that you see in miscellaneous. And we have a printer that we bought. So I wanted to kind of, just hit on those, but the big thing here is where we stand. You go further down to the bottom in the totals, and you'll find that that's a number that just, the first of the two that's highlighted, it says total expenditures plus additional payments. So that's everything that's been paid, that's had to be paid out that month. Okay, plus whatever we, in the non-discretionary, all that, plus the pastor's additional 500 if it's in there. That's what that is. And so you can see those figures. They've been around $8,000, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes less. And then you can see what the difference is in excess. Bottom line that's highlighted should be the tithe and offering excess. So you can see in January 786 we were ahead, 899 in February we were ahead. March was just an anomaly, I guess, but huge, 3,281 ahead in March. Then we were below in April by almost 500, and in May we were again ahead in 1252. I give you those numbers because I'm trying to figure this out just as well as you are. How do we stand as far as this year, different from last year, in being able to say, I think we're having more come in to support perhaps a salary increase from the pastor for the go-ahead. We know he needs 4,300 as it looks like as a steady state just to meet the basic budgetary needs. That's what he should have this year. And we know he's in the hole, with the 3,000 there. So those are the numbers that you need to see in front of you. If you go to the far right, that far right number that I've highlighted, $4,617, that is what we are in surplus right now for the year. So that's the number to make any, kind of short-term decision to say, we have money overage of the budget, right, over the budget that can be taken and done, to do something with to assist the pastor now, immediately. That's also a number to kind of keep in mind as to how far we've gotten in these 6 months, as to how much overage we've accrued, so that in 6 months, we're at almost $4,600, whatever that, what would that equate to per month? You do the math, but somewhere $700, I guess, is that right, per month that we are over. Again, March was very large for me, so it's hard to know, what happened in March. Is that steady state? I can just say the average we are over in this current budget is about $700 per month. Does that support a roughly $500 increase in salary for the pastor to make it $4,300 instead of $3,800 that we give him now? That's $500. Yes, it does. If you look at, we have $700 more coming in, and he needs $500. So a decision to make a salary increase in the pastor is supportable by the numbers. For the go ahead, now what we do with the current money that's in there is the other, of course, decision. So I'll throw you my thoughts as to possible uses of that. Right now, we see I don't have it in front of me, but the $3,000 that two mortgage payments down and a car payment. Those are debts hanging over, and those are past due debts. That's kind of that immediate need, right? We know that. So we've talked about having an emergency fund to kind of cover so that the pastor's salary doesn't get cut short 1 month. We can have $1,500. That's the current agreed upon number from the churches. That we'll keep $1,500 in. Whatever over that, we'll make up the pastor's salary additional $500, and we've been able to do that and still hold that emergency fund. Now, do we do that? Do we continue to do that, or do we dip in and say we can use the whole $4,600? I don't recommend that personally, but that's so. But do we lessen that to something like 1,000 emergency funds just to cover? We know there's an immediate need, and say, there's $3,500 here to do something with immediately, and still have $1,000 emergency fund. That's the kind of number there. Let me also mention that we're not done with June, so I fully expect there to be another offering, one more week in June, and that's typically going to hit us another $700-800 a week. So the number could be increased from 4,600 to over 5,000. But one of the thoughts that I have is, just if I were, as a pastor, or you and I budgeting ourselves, the accountability that's there is helpful. That if we have, if I have had to go into debt and taking on additional purchase of sort of things that I have now not been in a position to be able to pay, it's helpful. We all learn how to manage our budgets, right? It may be such that it's helpful to the pastor to say, we have some money here to give. We want to do that. We want to do it in a way in which you have some accountability for surety that that you're going to manage the money. And maybe it's helpful for him to have that. So maybe to something to the extent simply as you don't make any big financial decisions without the church. Counseling the church, maybe the deacons, to say no large purchases unless you talk. Now that'd be from him alone saying, yes, I want to make myself accountable to the deacons of the church to say, I want to get counseled when I make any of these future purchases. That's a possibility. If we're going to say, we're going to give a lot of this additional money over to that, to say, yes, we'd like to encourage and require perhaps the kind of, I want to say, contract. That's a thought. It's been brought to up a discussion with me by someone at this point, and I bring it to you as well. But there is the additional money. How we decide to go forward. The other issue is a salary increase. Do we just do the salary increase at this point, or do we just say let's hold off on the salary increase, meet the need now? But we're not really in a position over a year to say, hey, we really do understand where our budget is, to say, let's do a salary increase of $500 now. And you can do that, or you can meet the immediate need, but not yet make a decision to make a salary increase and say, let's meet the need now. Let's wait till we get to a year to say, let's formally adopt a salary of $4,300. Or we could decide to make that salary increase now. Meet as much as we need now. So I'm just kind of laying out some different thoughts and ideas. I don't know if you thought about those. Okay. So those are my main thoughts. And before I get off of here and someone else can come up or talk or raise questions, do you have any additional questions from the budget, just the basic budget that I've laid out? Those numbers are, JB,
Joe, just for clarity,
Yes.
what you were mentioning before, June is not yet finished.
June is not yet finished.
So let's just say we have an average offering Sunday, that negative 1,100 would probably be more like a negative 400.
It may not even be any negative.
It might not be anything,
Yes.
but let's just assume it's
Sure.
somewhere in the negative a little bit, maybe. So what I'm trying to get at is our lowest negative month that we've had would be between $400 and $500 twice, if that happens this Sunday, right?
Yes.
And I have a reason for asking, for
Okay.
making that statement.
Sure.
And then we also have to look at March and say that's an anomaly. We've never seen that before.
Right.
But we have seen $1,000 or $1,200. So my point being is that when we're talking about an emergency fund, okay? If we have another month where we're $500 short, then we don't have an emergency fund, then we're right back to not being able to pay pastor, et cetera. So that would be unwise to at least not have 500 in the emergency fund. Based on our current, we can't plan on having a $3,000 bump again. Does that make any sense to everybody? So at this point, because you're saying maybe we can lower the, I'm all for emergency funds. You all know me, I did the finance thing. And I think we should keep it at the level it's at. However, for a time, we could consider maybe dropping it to 500 for 1 month. And we would know that in a consistent mathematical statement here, that would at least cover our lowest possible.
Let me add one thing to that, maybe, is that typically, and I don't have last year's in front of you. You can remember last year, it's been May, June, July, the summer months, where it's been that big, wow, what happened for $1,000, $2,000 low. So we're in those months, we haven't seen it May, June, thank the Lord, and we may not see it in July, I don't expect it. These are the months, so. Yeah, at this point, we still haven't seen July, I guess, but I don't see the same budget I've seen last year.
So when we're talking about the emergency fund, we want to look at those factors that 500 would be, to go below that, I think would be unwise.
Right.
But taking into consideration the slowdown in the summer,
Right.
so we may want to bump that. So I'm just making a point, that's all I'm trying to
It's a
do.
big
based on
thing.
the-
So for everyone, and those who not, maybe online, the point made was, we've been holding $1,500 in the emergency fund to cover any lapse, especially during the summer months. It appears that we don't need to hold that much based on the current budget to this point, what we're seeing at this point. So to make a decision to go to a lower emergency fund
For just to help,
for a temporary period
yeah.
is something that seems to be.
It's something to think about.
And something to think about.
Okay. I just want to.
You want to saw another hand? Yes, son.
I'm sort of confused. We have lived on an extreme budget, like in living wage, poverty level, and 4 children, and private school. So I can't do all of that. What I'm saying is, like, and I'm all for it, we help them get caught up by giving them $3,000. Okay, and we holding them accountable or whatever, which I think is wise. But then the next month, he's still gonna be 500 short, right?
Right.
And then in not very many months,
Right.
down the road, we're gonna have the same thing. So if it was Kevin and I and our family, he would be looking for 10 more hours of work. I mean, is that something that's entered his mind, or you talked to Pastor, right?
I mean, I personally talked to him enough to know where he is before we had this meeting. I talked to him about whether he, is leaning that direction. I think he realizes, yes, that is a need, but he's not leaning towards doing that yet. So no, it's not a desire of his to do that. He's seen the Lord bless this year by not employing himself, even for 10. 10 seems like, okay, yeah, that'll meet it. But you get in at all, and I think Brother Steve, you're telling me this, maybe your opinion or not, but when you start to go into that realm, you now get pulled into more hours and you really want it to be. There's a lot of other,
I would say, we're still dealing with this budget. Let's stay with the budget. We've got some extra money. we want to answer, that's good. But to change anything budget wise, like change salaries and something like that, that's something that we do need to be for. And this is not a budget, this is something we're talking about getting decisions, so let's cut off the budget.
Right, so from Rose Miles,
Let's treat the need.
this is a need, but budgetary things, larger, longer term things should require a budgetary meeting analysis.
Oh, yeah,
And
we're just talking.
And that means that the question I threw out, and the pastor kind of mentioned, the need for a salary that, long-term, but he didn't say, that's the decision needs to be made. So yes, both from Miles, at this point, makes sense. We don't make a budgetary salary change.
Right.
We-
As a note regarding that fact, we're not making any budgetary decisions tonight. We're just talking things over and looking at what is possible. So that the budgetary.
The budget meeting is
It's totally
Sunday,
different,
so
totally
we do,
different. However,
informal.
just as a note, before we had to reduce from 3790,
Right.
that's where that 500 comes from.
correct.
Is that was always his salary in the past for many years.
Right.
And it,
We
now
realize
we're
we
trying,
go down
now
to
we're taking it down
37.
500 and saying, hey, we're gonna try to augment that whenever we can. By God's grace, we've been able to.
Right,
So to take it back to 3790 would not be a raise of any sort.
right, it's not according to the traditional amount. that's
Right.
given.
Right, which is still,
I'm talking more than $4,300 number.
right, 43,
Which is-
44.
That is, in there, so
You
that's.
gotta take into consideration too that, Elisa is now married, she's not there. Josh works full-time,
Right.
Esther works full-time, so there's some other, less, straining things, on their budget that way.
Right,
And, but that's there, that's not, that's not. But at the same time, I also pointed out very clearly that there's some things on here on a normal budget that you don't see. So 4,300 really, I think, is shy of what they really need.
and let's mention one thing, that's why and I'll get you, brother Kevin, right with this, is that time frame to have a $4,300 budget is through December, right?
Right.
That's why the question came up about the vehicle. Now, will he need another vehicle? Will that one continue, some funds toward the vehicle costs should probably be factored into a budget. So I'm not saying all that $529 for the current, auto payment will go away in December, but much of it will. So that the budget for him after December really should be, I think 3,800 may hit it, maybe it's 4,000. It probably is going to be 4,300. So we won't even need to probably make a decision for that kind of budgetary increase to meet his steady state needs, just based on the car payment. That's
Right,
let's point that out.
because
But it currently is the issue.
Currently, that would be the
Which
500.
is what Sonny brought up, the $500 in the whole every month, but that is for the current time period, 5, 6, 7 months, we know that. So, Kevin, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, couple things. We've been through a lot of similar things in the family members we do. And as much as you want to help, as much as nobody wants to see the pastor work, nobody, I don't think there's one person who does that. But, the reality too, the reality there. If we gave him everything we had, this would be a patch. This would be a patch, and the situation still was, the main situation is there. So I think we should pray for something that's going to work towards a long-term type thing. And how close is he close to losing a house or anything like that?
I don't believe.
I probably know, he's actually asked me to kind of talk in his stead in some of these.
Yeah, so you want to use this to read?
One of these would be when you get to 90 days, 3 months, then you start getting letters
Oh,
that lean towards foreclosure and.
well, you can be at your house at the end of the 90 days.
So they're 2 months,
Mhm.
so they're one payment away from that.
I think we should do, like he says, he can't, with the size of his family, so he can't just go to an apartment or anything.
There's no way.
we need, I think the priority would be to keep him in his house. What you had to do to keep him in his house while we're working on something long-term. So that it's not gonna help anything if he gets evicted from the house right now. It's not- And if we spend all the money on it, and then if we have a bunch of low months, we could be to where we're not making our mortgage either. And we can't help him if we're getting pulled into it too.
Right.
So we love him, we care about him, but we need to pray about this and be smart about it to where we can stay in a position to help him, but help him help himself.
Right. And can I make one reflection on this too, is that, Freddie thought about this, and when I talked to him, he realized he was gonna do this, step out in faith and do this. What do we see with the numbers that we see right now? God's blessed that. He's blessed that decision so that we are in a position to actually make up those debts and pay for it. So that's a significant thing that as we reflect on this and we think, well, but can we support this going forward? Well, I see it, and I was trying to communicate to him just individually, but to you all, I see it as, look, he's blessed this amount. We didn't give him any more than this per month. Had we known that he was getting these, further back into debt, I think it would have been a good, thing to know to go ahead and say, let's take some of those funds. But God's been bringing those additional funds in. However He has done it, God has done that through these months. From that decision, that's a significant thing in my mind to say, I think God, of course, is going to meet those needs. It's not a fiscally irresponsible thing for us to address the current need that He has, because God has blessed that. So will He continue to bless that? That's just a reflection that I have.
I had one other thought too, was if the car payment thing is till the end of the year or whatever, he said he's thinking one or the other, like he's been bouncing between the two. If you want to help him, if you help him with the car payment, he could pay his house payment. And both of them would be getting paid at the same time.
Well, can I make a comment here?
Go ahead.
Okay, if you look at it real simple, if, like you said, Joe, my thought is very simply this, is that God is blessed, we have money here to talk about.
Yes.
In the past, it hasn't always been there.
Absolutely.
And it's really swung around since Pastor's full time, and I think that God's blessing that.
Right.
He's gonna bless all the hours that Pastor puts in as extra, It's just, and if you take that from a practical sense into the world, if you're working part-time, now you're working full-time, it's gonna be better, And so put God's blessing on that, and the spiritual aspect of that here at our church, the people, which numbers you can't put numbers on. So having said that, in light of what you're saying there's a 500 basically deficit, right? He has about, that's why I asked how many payments he really had. I think it's more like 7 payments, and the truck is paid off.
Right.
If you multiply that out, it's about $3,500. Just an idea. If we took 3,500 from the 4,600 and eliminated that truck payment.
Right, that was an idea brought to me.
Now this budget all of a sudden balances,
Correct.
and he is no longer in a monthly deficit.
Correct.
Starting
was
July
That
1st,
was a solution.
no monthly deficit,
So
okay?
you're not dealing with another loan out there.
You're not dealing
with
with
a loan.
You're getting-
Correct.
No, well, it eliminates the deficit each month.
Right,
And so it also eliminates one of the debts. And so it allows him to continue. And then we could look at maybe at some point saying, well, if we get more, maybe we could help him catch up on some of those payments on the house. Because at this point, he wouldn't have to worry about that because there'd be no deficit, there'd be no debt, and there would be no truck payment.
yes.
I know he's down to 6 or 8 months like that, but the payoff is gonna be less than that amount.
It's possible because no interest for those 6 months.
That's a good point.
Interest will go away.
Right,
And, otherwise interest will-
Yeah, we're just talking in general
Probably very
terms.
low because of 6 months.
right, so Brother Mills mentioned that the payoff of the truck would perhaps be even less than that total.
And that would be the best stopgap for them, if we put them where they can adjust their budget.
You're helping.
Let me just say from
You know,
financial counselors, that's what they would tell you to do.
It
Because
seems like everybody's not in there,
immediately
one less,
balances,
bill,
immediately
one
balances your
less-
budget, immediately balances your budget, eliminates the debt. And so you can breathe. You know, from that point on,
He's in
you
this situation,
then if there is, if indeed there is a difference there, maybe it's only 6 months, whatever. The problem is general terms, we don't know the exact number. Then you still have 1,000 in our budget, okay? That if we wanted to help him make one good house payment, we could do that too.
Right.
All right, so that would be two huge things that we could do. It would bring him almost current with his house, totally out of debt with the truck, and a balanced budget.
Okay, so for JB, for those who may be online, the proposal, the thought is to take the current overage and pay the car, the automobile off in order not to have a continuing bill there and not to have that accruing debt. And now your budget is back down to $3,800 required. So that's being met by the current salary and whatever additional funds after the car auto is paid off, perhaps some more money exists to pay on the mortgage, other mortgage payments, perhaps an additional $1,000, which is conceivable, leaving us at a zero balance or maybe plus 500. Okay. Steve?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think what we need to do is, get the truck payment taken care of. And that's gonna put him it should put him theoretically in the plus, so he can save a dollar or two here or there, or actually, be able to take care of himself. But I also think, that doing this, that we need to set up the accountability that you're talking about as well. So, hey, now you don't have this debt, now you should be able to, live within your means, for lack of a better term. We should be able to help him in that way as well.
No, knowing, I agree 100%. Knowing the fact that there's still 2 months of, back mortgage.
Right.
Which
And hopefully we could take care of one of those two.
Take care of
yeah.
one of them, right? So that only leaves one, right? And I think over the course of the next few months, if things remain the same, we
Extra
can help
$500,
eliminate
$600
that.
a month.
By the fall, Pastor could be totally caught up on a zero budget. If everybody knows what that means, it's working, and no debt.
Well, that may be also another option as well with the accountability. Should we see, in 3 months that we still have a surplus, and that he's doing well, then we can possibly revisit, okay, how much have you paid off on that behind payment? Okay, let us cover the rest of that, and then he can be living the dream.
Yeah.
With that account, with that accountability.
And all of that can be done, without having a budget meeting, without having to change the budget and all that. And then at that point, we could look at, because right now, I don't think we should look at doing anything permanent with the budget, because it's still ebb and flow. 3,000 1 month, 1,000, 1,200 down one. I mean, these are huge numbers, right? So it's still ebbing and flowing to a big degree. So hang on to a little emergency fund, so we don't skip past it.
Right. That's
So we don't short him 1 month and expect him to live on a short budget, and stick with the plan like that. Then at the end of the year, look at it, he's totally out of debt, other than the house, and living on a budget, he's covered. We've covered him because we were wise, and then we could look at maybe changing the actual pay and bringing it up.
Right,
If
take
all
another
things
look at
remain the
where
same.
he is, maybe he can sit down again and go, okay, here's.
And that would be a
my
budget
number.
meeting where we'd have to have a budget meeting and go through all that. But the rest of this is just voting on what cash the Lord's blessed us
I
with.
believe it is. It would be such that this Sunday, I don't know, moving forward, how we want to propose this, but I could put together a voting ballot sheet that could be handed out this Sunday, which you all will be informed, those who are online are informed. Anyone who has questions before Sunday can certainly call me. Those online can call me. I'll try to state what may be confusing to you, but bring a budget, not a budget ballot, but a immediate need surplus decision ballot. What we do with this, yes, to deal with the current problems. Yes.
And then you said it was a long loan for the truck, and now he's month behind. It's like, he paid like, what, 60 months already? 70, it was like 70
Something
months.
like that.
At this point in time, the truck, the
Oh, it's not gonna
car
make
does
any
not want
sense.
the truck back.
Oh.
And a lot of times he can negotiate, if I can do this amount of money.
Yeah, anything that he can
If I can do
negotiate.
this
like that.
amount of money,
It may reduce it a little bit as
so
we
they will
go through.
completely, or you can ask how much, if I
sometimes I would you pay the
If I can
interest.
pay it off, how much?
Although that would be great, you know, if we'll allow that, I mean, not needing the full 3,500, we're expected to pay.
But I don't know,
It's less.
I mean, then having put the surplus in here and asking to step out of the way, it's not a coincidence.
No, right, that's
You know,
my heart as well.
No,
And I don't think anyone here
the
thinks,
numbers are beautiful, the fact that it looks like we can, in one little vote, you know, by July first, we could really be, you know.
and the other thing is, you know, as I reflect on this, and perhaps you all as well, is, you know, we've in the past had a lot of emergency need, you know, love offerings, kind of just the short-term appeal. That has not happened recently, and it's not happened from him, even though he's been into the stage of being behind. It's not been forthcoming to us before that, oh, we need to ask for a, you know, immediate need, love offering, which has come in the past, and I think that just is another testament to his belief that God is taking care of this. The budget is, the funds are coming in, and he's willing to wait on the Lord, wait on things to happen. And so for him to come forward and to do this, like he said, was not, you know, not necessarily his initiative, but his feeling like, okay, because I had approached him and said, we have a surplus. I think we need to meet some of this need that you've only shared with the deacons at this point. So the point is, we don't have a cry for emergency love offering, but we have the surplus, and we're just making a wise decision on that.
Agreed, as long as we remain wise in the plans that we set out with a little bit of emergency fund, so that when we do get him in position with this vote, that there is, if we do have a low month where we drop down 500, we can still pay him.
Right.
Otherwise, we'll just be sitting right back where we started. And we
Right,
don't want to do
we
that.
see that. But meeting the current need with the recognition.
Exactly.
Yeah, we made that.
So I would make I don't know if we need recommendations tonight, but I would recommend paying off the truck at whatever discount he can get, he can put towards his mortgage, and putting whatever we have left, still remain with the 500 emergency fund, so we can meet his payment if we have to. Allowing him to put that towards the mortgage, that would be my recommendation.
Who else has a recommendation or a difference to what we kind of generally kind of as a consensus at this point, thinking pay the vehicle off, whatever additional funds go to the mortgage, and perhaps establishing a contract with him to do all that. Is there anyone in kind of disagreement with that basic plan?
So the third leg on that is we would have to agree that our emergency fund could drop down for a couple of months to 500 versus 15.
Right.
I don't think so. I don't think people really understand what you're saying here, because we're talking about paying the truck off. That's one thing.
Right.
But you're saying something about paying something on the mortgage too. That's an additional fund that we're talking about. We're talking about paying off the truck.
Right, and
Paying off the
so
truck is gonna be like $3,500, $3,600.
yeah, then you have some more money.
Then we have $1,000 left for our sinking fund.
That's the other part of it. You'd have to agree to
I don't
lower
think we
that.
need to actually more than, let's just take care of the truck and then.
Okay, so what he's saying is he doesn't want to lower it down. to
So we could
Just
just
fine.
keep the
I would
$1,500
just-
emergency fund
Yeah.
as it is, take and pay the vehicle with whatever amount will allow, but not dipping into the $1,500.
Well, let's say that, just say pay off the vehicle.
Well, then you are voting to lower,
You may
That's
not.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
We're touching, we may touch some of that fund, we may go below 1,500, we may go down to 1,000.
okay, I'm just, we just need to make that very clear, that we are saying here in our meeting tonight, that we are agreeing to go below the emergency fund, 1,500, to pay off the truck.
Right, it's not, we're not making that decision.
But
Yeah,
my proposal is to go down even more, a little bit more, just for 1 month, to help ease some of the burden on the mortgage, because it's very, very close. And Mel's proposal is just the truck. And so either one of those, I'm
What I can
fine
do
with.
is I can
I'm
put two
fine with
options on the
either.
balance sheet. I can, yes,
fine with
Rhonda,
What's
both
the,
those options could be on.
yeah, can you give me, what's the difference between the emergency fund and the other thing? What are we calling the other thing?
um,
The 4,000.
surplus.
The surplus.
An
So
accidental surplus.
right.
1,500 of that is emergency.
Okay, so we're, JB, you're saying pay the vehicle off the surplus.
which is about, it's somewhere between 3,000 and 3,500.
And dip into the emergency fund for the mortgage.
Well, no, in order to pay off the truck, you have to
Dip into the emergency fund.
Yes, the 4,600 has
Includes the
1,500
emergency
that's the
fund.
emergency fund.
Yeah.
Well, let's just say that we're expecting another $500 probably next.
He may not have to, if he could get a good deal and pay it off at 3,000, then we wouldn't have to touch the emergency fund at all.
And a decent offer is something, right?
What I'm saying is we pay off the truck. We may touch some, but we're not gonna touch all that much.
Right.
We're still staying close to that, basically, if we get in trouble with our mortgage, we've got money to pay it.
Yeah.
That's what that's for.
We won't keep putting ourselves in
There you go.
Well, that's it.
So
That's
we'll be
why.
putting him in a position where he can actually pull himself out.
Right.
Yeah.
Himself out.
And that's why I initiated the whole emergency fund idea at the very beginning anyway, because of that very reason, is we don't want to fall short. I mean, it's a sound financial principle.
Right.
And that's why I was saying, I was just going out an idea for 1 month, but I'm okay with whatever, honestly.
with all this going on too. He's going to help somebody tomorrow for the testimony of our church with a truck that gets like 8 miles to the gallon. And he hasn't said anything about any help or anything like that too. So he's all the time doing stuff like this. You know,
Right, he looks at that vehicle as something of the church, it's the church, he gets to use it for what he needs to.
Yeah.
But personally, but it's.
yeah, he has that always consistently, we've all known somebody that's consistently where he is, like all the time, every month, every 6 months, every whatever. He's never done that. He's never been like that.
Right, so we have a wonderful pastor who's trying to do the responsible things with his funds, and we all learn, as I said, how to do that better. And he would admit, understanding as he has before, that not every decision was the best, right? Or you're learning and you're growing, but knowing that he's committed to keeping his, things as low as he can and being as forthright as he can with his funds, that's a significant thing. In anyone's mind, my mind certainly is to know that there's nothing behind the scenes here, at least from his, that we know of, and I intend for there not to be anything behind the scenes for our budget, what you all see, that's important to you and to each of us.
So at minimum, the proposal would be pay off the truck at whatever the payoff amount is minus whatever he can get a discount if he can, or whatever interest isn't. If there's a payoff amount, they'll give that to you.
Right.
If you pay it off today versus over the period.
But we won't drop below a.
And whatever that is, we're proposing paying that, even if it hits us a little bit in our emergency fund.
Right. Does anyone want to propose a cap for the emergency fund? I heard numbers, but just it can go all the way down to zero. You all happy with that at this point, the surplus, use all of it?
No.
Yeah, so
We're
no one's putting that number.
talking about just pay the truck off. Pay
I
the
understand
truck
that,
off.
and we don't expect that to go to that, but just for,
We're looking at probably worth from 1,000 to 1,500 still left.
I'll just kind of state that no lower than 1,000 on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
1,000.
Put that on,
That sound good? Okay,
so we have a number.
okay.
Okay,
I'm gonna agree with that, because that would be twice what our largest dip has been.
yes.
And that still does leave us with, we've needed, funds for stuff at the church too. And that still does leave us with, we need toner or whatever. I mean, we have taken up low offerings in the past, but that still does leave $1 or $2 there.
Right.
We need more
And we
pens.
don't
I
have
love
to-
it because we're taking care of our pastor, and we're still taking care of the very church that he's working to help.
Right.
It's
And
great.
it's been
Praise the
good.
Lord.
Amen. Praise
It's
the Lord.
exciting.
It is exciting. So if you have any other things after this that you want, for me to consider to add to that ballot, I'll propose a ballot that gives 1 or 2 options. Basically, I think that one option is the one, but I may have a second one that's coming to mind. But
And
I'll put that
if you
on.
pay off that's closer to 3,000, you might have a little wiggle room.
Right. And then, of course, there'll be any of these decisions, someone can vote that way as well. Anything else from the floor? Just open discussions, not a business meeting.
You
Yes.
said we haven't had a love offering in a long time. Is that something we want to consider?
Not a specific love offering for the pastor, request or appeal to.
We could get one of those mortgage payments out of the way. That
It
would
is
help
something
to
worth
be a
appealing
big
to and
burden.
additional to what we're saying here.
Just a thought.
Let me,
Ballot.
how you wanna have your options laid out. You may wanna have option A, we pay off the truck, dipping into the emergency fund up to $1,000. Option B, we pay off the truck and, you know, we contribute $500 towards the mortgage, dipping into the emergency fund down to or up to another 500.
Right.
Should there be any surplus from paying the truck off cheaper, you know, that would go towards it as well. You know, and those are just a couple of.
I like that, Steve, that'd be option A, and I think that would be, you know, everybody here understanding that if we go below 500, there's a risk, high risk, because we've already had one fund, possibly two.
Right, and just so everyone understands on the risk to us as a church, we carry money ahead of time for the payments that go out during the month. So we have essentially a month's upfront. You know, I don't, it's been in the past where we've been waiting for money to come this month so we could pay X bill that was coming due on the 15th.
Right.
No, at the beginning of the month, we have the money to cover the month.
Yes.
So the things so it's not that,
No,
I think everyone understood that anyway, but yeah,
but we want to be sure it's paid faster.
correct. Yeah. Okay. Well, I know some folks have to go, and then we can just kind of break up formally here, and if you want to stay and ask questions, chat some more.
Just as a side note, I think we need to pray as a church to come up with some kind of a thought about how to get caught with the mortgages.
And that could be that love offering.
Whether it's a series of love offerings or revisiting this again, I think we should revisit every 3 months of the year.
Certainly with the way things have gone with the surplus per month, this would, you know, as the average, it would be an additional $600 or $700 coming in per month for what we've seen. So we'll be very quickly that we're again in a position where we have, if the Lord does that, an additional surplus to do something with. So as I think what Steve mentioned, by the fall, it should no longer be mortgage behind.
Right.
That's yeah. So we'll agree, we want to look at it again fairly shortly in the next 3 months or so. See what we can come up with to help curb that, because any of us, if our budget was balancing at zero, and we were still too much behind on the payment, that'd be that's still a little sketchy.
Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and pray. We'll kind of close the formal part of this and thank the Lord for the time. Heavenly Father, thank you for your meeting with us, for the pastors. Lord, not only his openness and willingness to share, you know, what's there and the transparency, which we're so grateful for, but we thank you for his heart of service, his heart of understanding that his life, his resources are yours. And we greatly, Lord, thank you for that and for the example he gives. And Lord, we want to do the right thing, having wisdom as a church body to Lord, to meet the needs that are present for his salary, his family, the needs financially that are there. Give us wisdom in how to do that and to, Lord, go forward with the resources that you supply. Thank you for the challenges to us as a church in our faith as well, and his faith, and how you are using that in our lives, Lord, as well. So we can just trust you. May we not, in this whole process, get to the point where we, again, leave you out of any of this equation. Our trust in you for what you will do. We just glorify you and what you've already provided, that we can make up a gap here. And we're going forward, and we'll be able to be in unison and just have things clearly laid out so no one is offended by not understanding. I pray that would be the case. Thank you, and ask you to go with us now as we leave tonight. Bless and take care of us the rest of this week. Bless the needs of the move for Thursday's event as well. In Jesus' name, amen. You are dismissed and here.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Yeah.
You just had that. Get on the guy.